That the world has been unnerved into a new normal resulting from the COVID-19 pandemic is not in doubt. Not only has the disease significantly affected the everyday routine of human life, but has also posed unprecedented environmental threats. Tons of medical waste, much of which is personal protective equipment, PPEs, is generated each day at a huge environmental cost. Since the disease was first reported in the country in March 2020, face masks have become a prominent symbol of the pandemic, with authorities issuing a raft of measures meant to contain the spread of the disease. A walk across the country's major towns reveals a looming danger, with loads of masks scattered across open spaces, water sources and trenches within children and even adults scavenging on dump sites filled with used masks and other personal protective equipment. Besides associated dangers of used PPEs, researchers say face masks could be releasing chemical pollutants and non-plastics into the environment. According to Nema Director General Mamo B. Mamo, the inception of masks came at a time when the agency was almost succeeding in dealing with the management of solid waste. Nema, in partnership with the Ministry of Health, has already developed national guidelines for the management of biomedical waste, which have been devolved to the counties.
Before the emergence of the masks, we had the challenge of managing solid waste. And with coming on board of the masks, I think the issue of solid waste became a major issue. Nema came up with a national strategy of managing the waste, national guidelines on managing the biomedical waste. And we worked very closely with Ministry of Health to come up with these guidelines. We've devolved these guidelines to the counties so that they'll be able to look at these guidelines and able to manage this biomedical waste, also called biohazards.
The provisions are provided in the 7th, 8th and 9th schedules of the regulation and the healthcare waste management guidelines under the Ministry of Health. The guidelines, which target the general public as well as institutions and organizations that are in the front line in the fight against COVID-19 disease, seek to enhance public engagement on the management of related biomedical waste.
Through the Ministry of Environment, our parent ministry, we've gotten incinerators for major level 5 hospitals so that they'll be able to incinerate this waste. Because you've seen the way our citizens are. They like disposing things out and expecting others to collect. But we've been educating them also through a number of media, public media, to ensure that they dispose this biomedical waste sustainably.
Nema has also come up with yellow-coded bins where one can put in used masks and PPEs, with county administrations now working closely with agencies, county directors of environment and public health officials to manage the waste at the point of generation.
It's for public health, NEMA officials and county government officials to work together, especially in collection of this used biomedical waste through the provided yellow-coded bins. Because at the community level, the public health officials can provide these yellow-coded bins so that communities can collect this and take it to incineration so that it can be incinerated. A lot of environmental awareness and education needs to be done so that the local communities can be sensitized on this.
Nairobi County Director of Environment, Mr. Anthony Saisi, says PPEs largely used in isolation centers are well disposed, but disposable masks often find their way into the environment and dump sites. All those producing face masks are expected to have a take-back system where they have their own contracted hazardous waste chemical handlers.
PPEs that are used within the isolation centers are better off disposed. But the masks now, especially the disposable masks, they have found out their way in our environment, majorly in the dump sites. Look at our estates, we don't have separation bins. Look at some of the workplaces, we don't have separation bins. So they have followed the same trend. But the recommendation here would have been that whoever, the company that has been allowed to trade in the same or produce the same, they have a take-back system where they have their own contracted hazardous chemical waste handlers. So they follow where they are or provide bins or whichever so they could collect them and take them specifically to health centers that have the incineration. not to any other incineration center, so we can control the disposal in the environment.
According to Sophie Mutemi, the County Director of Environment for Machakos, waste generated from PPEs is infectious and is likely to lead to more contamination if not properly managed. Almost half of general waste collected in the country is never collected. Mutemi says the agency's focus has now shifted to collection, transportation and storage of associated waste, with all those dealing with hazardous waste required to acquire an operating license from Nema. The operators are expected to comply with strict guidelines meant to avoid cross-contamination of waste, as well as ensuring that such waste is transported from the origin to the final destination without any stoppage in between.
We are also talking about the transportation and collection and storage of this COVID infectious waste. We have advised the county government to ensure that the collection is done according to the guidelines. All the vehicles collecting waste, or rather COVID waste or infectious waste, are licensed by Nema. They get the waste transportation licenses for biomedical waste, so that and it should be designated for only biomedical waste. We do not want contamination, or rather cross-contamination of waste during a vehicle that is designated for biomedical waste cannot be used for general waste. And that is what we have told them. The vehicles should be properly labeled and they should be disinfected before and after handling of COVID waste. All the collectors, waste collectors, should be properly trained to ensure that they know exactly what they are transporting. And waste is transported from the origin to the final destination without any contamination or any stoppages in between.
The guidelines require those handling biomedical waste to avoid spillage of the same on the road or highways during transportation and ensure regular sanitization of workers involved in handling and collection of biomedical waste. Workers are required to be provided with adequate PPEs, including 3-layer masks, splash-proof aprons, gowns, nitrite gloves, gumboots and safety goggles. They are also required to use a dedicated vehicle to collect COVID-19 ward waste, which should be sanitized with sodium hypochlorite or any appropriate chemical disinfectant after every trip.
All waste generators should ensure the waste which is generated is properly collected, transported and disposed in a NEMA licensed facility. And therefore, if you are a generator of waste, you must segregate that waste and you must contract a NEMA licensed transporter. We have different types of streams of waste. We have the normal municipal waste, what we call the garbage. And the garbage is collected and transported by NEMA licensed transporters.
With the strict enforcement of the regulations, the country has witnessed a sense of normalcy, with Kiambu Nema County Director Stephen Wambua saying the measures have ensured that most of the waste generated does not go back to the environment. But even as efforts to address the challenges posed by biomedical waste intensity, stakeholders remain unanimous that personal responsibility remains key in ensuring that the environment will be given an opportunity to breathe by saving it from the choke that is hazardous waste.
It is the right of every Kenyan to have a clean and healthy environment. But at the same time, it is the responsibility of every Kenyan to ensure that environment is clean and healthy. So one should not look upon the government to ensure the environment is clean and healthy for them. It is every individual in this country, every person, to take charge of the environment. If, for example, the government and NEMA has come up with measures to ensure no use of banned plastic bags, as an individual, you should not condone the use of plastic bags. If you find somebody who is wrapping or putting your product, what you have bought, in a plastic bag, you have the duty and the responsibility to say no. Because as Nema, we cannot be everywhere watching every person. It is the duty of every particular person to ensure we don't continue using plastic bags.
The National Environment Management Authority, Nema, is the principal instrument of government in the implementation of all policies relating to the environment and is mandated with ensuring sustainable management of the environment through exercising general supervision and coordination over matters relating to the environment.
The solution is with us.
Yes.
We are the waste generators. We need to look how we can sustainably, dispose this waste. If we allow each and every person to dispose this, then the environment really will be in problems. So our appeal is for the citizen to ensure that they take responsibility, because this is your waste and you must take responsibility for your waste and dispose it properly.
Nema, mazingira yetu, uhai wetu, wajibu wetu.